Hi everyone. After my last video, which many of you saw and made some really nice comments on, I would like to continue reading from Writers Inc. contributions, and tonight's reading is supposed to be something funny. I hope you like it. It's taken from the 2010 anthology following the Daniel Pashkov Prize, and it is a story written by a lady called Ulrike Komsak from Vienna, Austria, and it's called Da Capo, Play It Again. Hey Clarky, old pal, I said. I'm really bored. What? Clarky shouted. I wheeled closer and pointed at his ear. Clarky, pull your hearing aid in. Oh, sorry, Bruce. He laboriously put the thing in place. Turn it on, I ordered. He did so. Clarky, I tried again. Gotta have some action. Like in the old days. He looked at me. I wasn't sure whether his hearing aid wasn't working or he simply had no clue what I was talking about. I knew that Clarky had those blank moments when his brain shut down like a power station and his mind went dark for a couple of minutes. Or hours, or days. A sign of his progressing dementia, soul mind. Nothing to do about it, said the doctors. We were old, handicapped, and deaf. Demented and slightly incontinent. But still among the living. Theoretically. Truth is, people don't care who you were or what you did when you were old. You're just old and talk gibberish and nobody wants to listen. You can hardly walk, and even if you can, you're not much faster than a snail. You lose your hair and teeth. People mostly perceive you in terms of more annoying or less annoying. Fact is, you're not really asked for anymore. That is, if you're not rich and got your own employees and nurses who are paid to treat you like a human being and not some old moron in a wheelchair who needs to wear diapers, like me, or a demented goofy who keeps forgetting that he's deaf, therefore almost never has his hearing aid activated, like Clarky. I lost the chance of dying rich when I delegated the responsibility of my money to my junior partner, Robin. We'd always been close, Robin and me, almost like father and son. Then I grew older and he turned into a reckless yuppie. Things changed. He squandered away most of my money and walked off with the rest. Never saw him again. The ungrateful bastard. Destination nursing home. I've had enough of that. I needed to feel alive for one more day. Or night, that is. Clarky, remember the old times? Of course I do, pal. I'm not stupid, Clarky said. I told him about the things that had been going on lately. Old Miss Gertie's necklace had vanished without a trace. Mr. Meyer missed his watch and Miss Rowland couldn't find her precious wedding ring. Nurses thought they had lost their stuff. 'Cause we're old people, Clarky. But I'm sure those things were stolen. Bloody hell, Clarky moaned. We must catch that thief, Bruce. All right, Clarky. Sure, Cherry will help us. Cherry was a favorite nurse. Cherry gave you the feeling that you were still human and not just a collection of old bones. She listened when I talked, asked questions and recalled things I had told her earlier. Things I often enough couldn't remember myself. So I clued her in on what was on my mind. No prob, she said. I'll get you those garments of yours, Mr. Wayne. We laid bait, put money on my bedside table in the night and left the door open. Thief wouldn't be suspicious. Old people often strayed around in the middle of the night. We met at 12 a.m. in Clarky's room, which was across from mine. First couple of nights, nothing happened. I started thinking that maybe Miss Gertie or Miss Rowland had really only lost their stuff. No thief, just dementia. Cherry always helped us into our garments. We were dramatically out of shape. Then went into Clarky's bathroom to change into hers. First time we saw her outfit, I almost fell out of my wheelchair. Clarky's jaw dropped into his lap. She was wearing a super tight bodysuit with the same red and yellow S Clarky had on his. Equal yellow belt and red cape. Clarky collected his jaw and shook his head. Sorry to tell you, Jerry, but on good authority I can tell you that Superwoman never really existed. She's a myth. I ought to know, he said surlily. Jerry shrugged. Same thing was said about the two of you. Clarky wouldn't stop nagging about his own bodysuit. But even worse, each and every night he asked me what it was that we were doing here. What again is it what we're doing here, Bruce? I'm Batman, I hissed angrily and regretted it in an instant. It wasn't his fault. Dementia, you know? I'm Batman, you're Superman. You and me saving the world and stuff. You flying around because of your superpower. Come on, you remember those days, Superman, don't you? His face went blank again. God damn it, I thought. How could you ever forget that part of your life? Suddenly he looked at me with glazed eyes. Superman, he said in a faraway voice. I remember now. I fought evil villains. I was more powerful than a locomotive. He paused. I had kind of a super sense of hearing, didn't I? He then asked and groped for his hearing aid. I smiled. Kryptonite has pretty much weakened you lately, but you are still Superman. I'm Batman. We're superheroes. Yes, we are, he exclaimed. Same conversation every night. Finally, one night we heard the sound of footsteps in the hallway. I softly closed the door. Clarky looked through the peephole. I think it's him, Batman, the thief. Clarky spoke under his breath. He's walking into your apartment. When the thief left my room with the money in his hands, I swiftly wheeled behind him. Stop, I yelled. Thief started to run. I sped up in my wheelchair. Suddenly, I felt as if I was sitting in the Batmobile again, racing through the streets. Trees, houses, and people passing by in a blur. I caught the thief's heels with my wheels. He turned around and fell down, a puzzled look on his face. Clarky passed me by, one arm stretched out in front of him, as if he was flying, which in fact he wasn't. For truth and justice, he shouted and plunged onto the thief with a hollow sound. His hearing aid rattled on the floor. Clarky tried to wrestle the thief down. Thief wrestled Clarky down. I was stuck behind Clarky. Thief got up and was about to run. Was hit by a severe blow in his face instead. Lost his consciousness. Cherry grinned and rubbed the back of her right hand. I do a little boxing in my spare time, she said matter-of-factly. I felt so happy I almost wet myself. Clarky had an inane smile on his face. Justice has been served, he says. Then dementia cast a shadow on his face again. Cherry called the police and told us she'd take care of the rest. Said the thief was one of the cooks. Then she took Clarky's arm and led him to his room, where she would put him into his bed and make sure he would have a good night's sleep. I wheeled into my own room, studied the guy in the mirror, wearing a grayish bodysuit and black bat cape. Batman forever, I whispered and smiled.